you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Welcome everybody, it is Bulldog here, and today we are doing an entire video on dark energy crystals, or DEC, because I believe DEC is one of the best buys in crypto right now. Not just gaming, but all of crypto. You guys are like, oh great, another crypto influencer here to shill a token. And this is very, very different. We're not talking about 10 times, 100x gains. You see all these videos, this token's gonna do 1,000x. We've got nothing like that. This is the Splinterlands stable coin, okay? And this is something that is going to be absolutely huge, because I don't think a lot of people understand the impact of what Splinterlands is going to do with their stablecoin. And I believe it is going to go to peg and hold peg very, very well. And that is going to be something revolutionary for a game to create their own token, give it a stable value, not by assigning it a value to another currency or another token, but solely based on it's backed by gaming products. I think that is absolutely huge. So if you're in the Splinterlands economy, I think this is very important to understand. And if you're just an outside investor, well, right now the price of DEC is, if we come over here, I have to use the Splinter Cards website, is $0.811 per 1,000 DEC, or it is 81% of its peg value. It's actually gone down a little bit here. You can see the market price is, we can refresh the Splinter Cards website as I make the video here. Dropped a little bit. That's gonna make our gains even a little bit bigger, because if it goes back to peg, you're looking at about a 25% gain. And I personally, I don't know exactly when it's going to go back to peg, but I personally think it will go back to its peg value with land, which is next month. We are literally weeks away, maybe days away from land releasing. And I did an entire video about how the impact of land surfing and how I think we're going to use a lot of DEC. I think we're going back to peg then, but even if it took 2 months, 3 months, even if it took a full year, if I told you guys you could get a 20% return on the stock market for a year, like that would be a huge thing for the stock market. Like that would be a great stock buy. Well, here's a chance to get what I believe is a very low risk, because I am 99.9% sure we are going back to peg value. There's no such thing as a guarantee, especially in crypto. Obviously, never invest anything that you can't afford to lose. I have been investing my own DEC, as you can kind of see here in the background. I am not paid by Splinterlands to promote this, not paid by anybody. This is all my own funds that I've put in the game. So yes, I am biased that I want DEC to succeed, because I have a significant amount invested in DEC here. But I hope you guys see that as not a reason that I'm shilling a token, but me having faith in what I am talking about here. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, investing my own tokens in here. It's been about the same. I've been investing about the same price ever since land released. So I think this is huge that you can go that yeah, it's not a huge gain. It's not a 10x, 100x, anything like that. But even if you buy now, getting a 20% return, I feel like it is very significant. So why am I so confident that DEC is going to peg value? Hopefully we've established that, yeah, if you're looking to buy things here, that this is a good thing. Hopefully it's pretty clear that Splinterlands setting up this economy is a huge thing, having a true stable coin that holds value. So why is it going to go to peg? It hasn't been at peg for what, a year now? It's been a while since it's been at peg value. If the system is so good, it's set up so well, why aren't we there yet? So in order to understand why I think it's going to peg in the future, we're going to rewind and look in the past. Why has DEC not held value, and why are so many Splinterlands players, members of the community, nervous that DEC won't hold value? A lot of people have asked, why are you buying all this DEC? You're taking this risk, but you don't have the upside of SPS. Why did you have the DAO? Why did you propose that the DAO buy DEC? It's too risky for the DAO to go hold the DEC. Why do I view this as having such little risk when DEC has not held peg for quite a while? So let's kind of look at how DEC works, okay? And how do we get into this issue of DEC being under peg, okay? So The reason that we got here, okay, and the reason that we've had problems is because when we were in this bull run. So right now, if you play ranked battles, you get SPS as a reward. It used to be DEC. A year ago, a little over a year ago, you got DEC for winning battles, okay? And DEC, the amount of DEC that was printed, that was for that reward pool, was based on the price of DEC. So one of the ways that the system was designed to keep DEC's value from going too high was that if the value got too high, it would print more of it, okay? And then theoretically, if you print more, that's going to bring the value back down, right? That's a pretty common thing. We'll see this in a little bit. You print less of it. If it's deflationary and you're burning it off, the price should go up. If you're minting a lot of it, the price should go down. So the system was designed so that the reward pool would be based on the current value of DEC relative to PEG. If DEC was at 5 times its PEG value, it would mint 5 times as much for the DEC rewards. Well, what I believe was a mistake, I think the team would admit the same thing. A mistake was made that they gave SPS airdrop when SPS was released and we got airdrops for the first year. You got airdrops for holding DEC. That SPS was so valuable, especially during the start of the bull run, that everybody wanted this DEC. And this currency that was supposed to be $1 for 1,000 of them skyrocketed all the way to 15 times higher than its value. And that's what when we saw these crazy these prices go crazy, okay? Because now for battle rewards, Splinterlands was minting 15 times as much for the reward pool, and those tokens were worth 15 times as much on top of that. So we saw these huge rewards, everybody kind of coming into the system, buying up this DEC. But the problem is we just kept minting more and more and more, and that airdrop was temporary. So that value, what was giving DEC that value, the SPS airdrop, was going away. And as the airdrop came closer and closer to ending, the DEC value decreased and got lower and lower. And then eventually that ended, and now that value was not backing the dark energy crystals, but we minted a ton of it. And essentially what we did is we created a bunch of debt that we essentially had to pay, because now we've created a much better system. We have the flywheel. We have a deflationary DEC environment, which I kind of talk about a little bit of those in a second. But none of that really mattered because we had way too much DEC in the economy, okay? And that's what we spent the last year kind of paying off. We've done all these different types of burning events and so many different things designed to burn through all this extra DEC that we minted. And we are finally getting to the point where that excess DEC is about to be gone from the market. And that is why things are changing. That is why the system is finally approaching the spot where it can work. We had to get rid of that extra DEC. We had to pay down those debts for those mistakes that were made during the bull market when that DEC price skyrocketed. This is why the Splinterlands economy is about to change. So how much more do we need to burn? Well, if we go look at the supply, here's the current DEC supply, 4.6 million. That's 4,676 million. So 4.6 billion, almost 4.7 billion DEC. Well, that number by itself doesn't mean much. How much do we need? Why is land? I talked about how land is going to, in my opinion, get us to that PEG value. Land is going to soak up a lot of DEC. If we use, in order to stake, you have to stake cards to land. If you are staking max level cards to land, you have to spend 10,000 DEC per card to do that. If every slot was filled for land, as we try to work the land and claim those new rewards coming with land, it would use 7.5 billion DEC. Now remember, a lot of this DEC is important just for everyday use in the economy. It's used for market transactions. The Splinterlands company holds a lot of it. It's in the liquidity pools. It's going to be needed for some of the land liquidity pools. There's a lot of things we need to use DEC for on a daily basis. So this 4.6 billion, that's not all available to go to land. But even if it was, we're barely covering half. Once you factor in all the other DEC that's needed, we probably don't have enough to work 50% of the land. And that's why that last video that I did about land surfing is going to allow anybody to come in and work unworked land. So if there are some landholders that maybe they just don't have the DEC to work the land, maybe they don't have the cards to work the land, well, other people can now come in and stake DEC on that land and work it themselves. So you're going to see a much higher percent of land being worked, which is a big deal because that will use up by requiring stake DEC. They'll have to stake that DEC. It'll be at least temporarily taken off the market. So there will not be enough DEC in circulation, okay? That is going to pump up the price of DEC until we get to par value. And this is where kind of the flywheel kicks in, okay? So we have DEC that we need. So what happens if we need 6 billion DEC on land? How do we then get more of that DEC? Well, we can go burn SPS to get that DEC. But it's important to note that we are only going to burn SPS to get this DEC if we are above peg value, okay? So this flywheel doesn't kick in until we are above peg value. And then, because when you mint, when you mint DEC, when you burn SPS, you'll burn $1 of SPS to get 975 dark energy crystals. So you have to go a little bit over par for it to be an equal trade, above peg value. Par, I say par and peg, they're essentially the same thing here. So nobody's gonna burn that SPS until we hit that peg value that we're looking for and start to go over it, okay? So we're not just going to start minting a bunch of DEC, and unless that, if it's under peg, then you're just gonna swap it. You're not going to burn. So that burning is only occurring when we're over that peg value. We're trying to consistently stay above peg value so that all these things in the game that burn DEC, I'll talk about that here in just a second, will require us to continuously burn SPS to mint more DEC, to then go burn that DEC, which will drive the price of SPS up. All of this extra value, we're continuously trying to drive value into the DEC token so that then that extra value is converted. When a value gets too high, that value gets converted to SPS. There's no limit to the amount of DEC we can mint, but you're only going to mint it if you're above that peg value. SPS has a fixed amount. So the more of it we burn, the more valuable the rest of it is. So that's the entire goal, is to try and be burning all of this SPS to mint more DEC so that we can go stake or burn that DEC. That's why people are excited about that flywheel. But we hear a lot of people saying, okay, so you get this land, we trigger the flywheel. What's going to actually keep DEC at peg value or above peg value? Isn't it still just a risk? Because so far in the game, we've seen that DEC is mainly backed by packs. The main thing that you could do is go buy packs with it. You get it. If DEC falls too low, you get a discount on packs. But if the Splinterlands assets aren't holding value, yeah, it doesn't matter if you get a 25% discount if the packs are only worth 50% of what the market price is, right? So historically, we've seen DEC kind of drop down lower when the Splinterlands assets aren't holding their value. So people have said, okay, well, the risk to holding DEC is that if the Splinterlands cards and assets and everything involved doesn't hold its value, then DEC won't hold its value, and you're going to lose money there, okay? And that's kind of been the case in the past, but once this flywheel gets activated, we don't really need packs to hold value in order for DEC value. We don't need the actual products themselves and their exact worth, because we are continuously burning DEC anyways. Even though card values are lower, cards were sold in the pack or were sold in the store for $4. Where are they at right now? It's around here someplace. They're worth $1.55. The packs have not held their value up to this moment. That's not as important in the future for DEC, because look at where we're at. Right now, we haven't had an event in a little while. You see down here this, so right here is the DEC supply. Let's go look at this right here, DEC supply. This was our event where we burned through a lot of DEC. This was our last event. But even in the last 30 days, without any sort of event, There's nothing special going on right now. Land, I mean, maybe people are kind of starting to prepare for land. We're actually probably burning a little less than normal because one of the ways that you can burn DEC is through guilds and upgrading guild buildings. Well, this event right here was a guild related event. So anybody upgrading already they pre-burn that DEC. So that is not there. But even in the last 30 days, DEC is deflationary. In the last 30 days, we've burned nearly 1% of the supply of DEC. Just with our everyday transactions in the game. Remember now that if we come over here to the marketplace, one of the things is that we burn DEC with every sale. Anytime DEC is listed on the market, or anytime a card is listed on the market, you have to burn DEC. These sales up here, here's the last 24 hours in sales. $23,000 worth of sales. That's burnt about what, 500,000 DEC? 2% of market sales is now burned in DEC. We are consistently burning DEC even though there's no packs being sold right now. Right now on the marketplace, and by the way, we're looking at, I guess there are packs for sale. There are packs for sale for the DAO. Right now, if you buy Rift Watchers packs, there's money going to the DAO. We've spent tens of millions in DEC sending it to the DAO for Rift Watchers packs. We're not even looking at that. We're not factoring that in here at all. There's no packs for sale. There's no chaos packs for sale on the marketplace or anything like that. Nothing that would give DEC its value right there. And we are still deflationary. We are still burning about 1% over the last month of the DEC just with these standard, just everyday market transactions in the game. People burning it to go get battle energy. And we have more sinks coming, okay? Tower defense is coming here very soon. It's going to have built-in sinks. Land not only has the staking DEC as I was talking about, but you're going to be able to burn DEC to buy grain, to speed up your production. There are other DEC sinks in there. There are a lot more DECs coming. There's no more DEC being minted except for a few situations, and those are probably going to be closed soon. One of those is leaderboard rewards. It seems like there's a ton of community support for getting rid of DEC leaderboards and replacing them with something else, like packs or something like that. The few ways we do have to mint DEC outside of burning SPS are probably going to be closed. So these numbers are likely to grow. But as long as the DEC is deflationary, the whole point I'm getting at, as long as DEC is deflationary, and it is right now, even though we're going to improve, it's already significantly deflationary. That's terrible grammar, but I hope we get the point home. Then it's going to stay a peg, right? Because the only way we're going to add more DEC in there is if we're over peg, okay? And to drive it back down a little bit. And whenever we mint more DEC, most of these things that we're minting DEC for are DEC burns. So it's not like we're minting all of this on the market and then, oh, well, when is that? Yeah, we minted all this DEC, but then does it go back on the market at some point? Or are we, there's not a huge risk for that. Yeah, you could hit a point where, I don't know, maybe a bunch of whales, maybe there's a lot of people cashing out of the game or whatever the case. You have to have a lot going on to offset more than, again, we're at 1% deflation per month, okay? And this is without then we're gonna have constant events going on as well that continuously burn more DEC. As long as DEC is deflationary, it will hold peg very, very well. Then we have a pack sale where you can buy in DEC and that goes to the team, that the team holds it pretty well. You can have huge events like that where then you need a lot more DEC, so you have to burn a ton of SPS for it. To me, it's not a question of do we hold peg? The question is, how far against that peg do we push so that we have to burn so much SPS? Because we are still minting SPS. Are we going to burn more SPS to keep that DEC value down than we are minting it, or that's being used? That's a big question, okay? And that's all relative to SPS value, not DEC value. As long as DEC stays deflationary, I feel very, very confident that we will hold peg once we get all that extra DEC off the market. And again, I feel like that will be very soon. I think it's with land, but even if it's not with land, maybe it's whatever event comes next. Even if that's 3 months, 6 months down the line, I would like to get I would like to get the flywheel started and get to peg a lot sooner than that. I'd like to be there next week. But I'm happy buying that up and sitting and just waiting for peg. That's a 20% return, and if it takes 6 months, I feel like 6 months is a very pessimistic outlook for it to be there. That's still a win. Maybe not as big a win as it could be, but that's still a significant win. That is why I'm loading up with DEC. That is why I wanted the Dow to buy DEC. I want the Dow to get this 20% return while taking more DEC off the market so we can burn even more SPS. That was why I put that proposal out there. I think it's getting a little late for that because I think we're gonna have land here. But I don't know, hopefully I'm getting my point across that DEC is going to be a game changer by getting to peg and holding peg. And I say game changer, again, a lot of you are gonna look at this from an investment standpoint. For the entire Splinterlands economy, a game being able to set up a stable coin that is backed only by the burns within the game, the desire for players to play the game and continue to burn tokens, keeping it at a stable value. Every other game that I've seen, now if there's another one out there that's done this, absolutely leave me a comment and let me know. I want to go check it out. But I haven't seen every single one that I've seen have a stable coin. There's either a stable coin like literally matched to $1, where it's backed by $1 or backed by another crypto or something like that. Or they have their token that's designed to kind of be based on burns, but it fluctuates up and down all over the place. That's what DEC's done a little bit. I mean, DEC has actually been fairly stable for the last year. It hasn't jumped around a whole lot, but we're gonna get to where it is at peg, and it's staying there pretty well. Now, I mean, it might have one day where it drops 3 or 4 cents below peg or something like that. I don't think it's going to be quite like a USDC where it's always exactly $1 and barely moves. And oh, it moved a tenth of a cent. Everybody freak out. Like, we're not going to have it that stable. But I feel very, very confident that we're going to stay around that peg value within a few percent, and that's just going to be a complete game changer for setting up an economy. That's one of the that's the first big, we're creating a list of things we need to do to get the Splinterlands economy fixed and improve that we can have a stable, sustainable play-to-earn economy. Having that stable coin is up there near the top. And once we can check that off and move on to other things, that's going to be such a big deal. I feel like I can't overstate this. I'm not sure the community as a whole really understands the impact that will have when we can get to that stable value, even outside the flywheel. Okay, because everybody wants the flywheel to increase SPS value, right? But just have the value of having a stable coin that people trust is absolutely huge. And I think we're gonna be there very soon. So let me know in the comments, what do you think? Does this open your eyes for DEC any? I feel like there's so many misconceptions. People feel like DEC has been kind of risky, and I just don't see it. As long as Splinterlands, this is the easy part of the next step for the economy. It's just been a matter of burning through all this extra DEC, and we are very successfully burning through all this DEC. It's just been a slow process. It's taken a year. We're finally almost there. I can't imagine we don't get to peg. I'm betting on it. Let me know if you guys are betting on it as well. Leave your comments down below. Thanks a lot, guys.